Hello? Today, we'll look at how to use on-site actions in iPresso to increase the engagement of visitors to your website. Let's get started. On-site actions are a mechanism that reacts in real time to user activity on the site. With on-site actions, you can set up a pop-up with information about a promotion or recommendation of other products. To launch an on-site action, go to Channels, Actions on Sites, and click the Create Your First Action On-Site button. Remember that for the action to work, you need to add the monitoring code to your website's source code. First, configure the action name. This is internal information in the iPresso panel that will help you identify the action. In the same area, you can place a short description of what the campaign is about. This field is not mandatory. You can then add relevant campaign tags to make it easier to find the campaign in the system later. Select the type of contacts: all contacts, anonymous, or monitored. Set up action groups on the page. These allow you to manage the order in which actions are displayed. If you have more than one on-site action and the user meets the criteria for several actions, they will see the one that was added last. However, you can use action groups to display more than one action within a single session. Go to the Groups tab to configure action groups and manage their priorities. Specify the start date, when the action is to begin. The finish date is not required. Specify the monitored page, the URL address where the action will be displayed. Specify the subpages. If you do not specify subpages, the action will only be displayed on the home page. Set up a page transition, an additional function that indicates which page the user originally had to be on for your campaign to reach them. Then set the capping, the limit on action displays, for example, once every 24 hours, twice every 36 hours, 3 times a week. Choose devices and browsers, on which devices the action should be displayed and which browsers should be included in the campaign. The choice is yours. Specify the action trigger: after the page loads, after a certain period of inactivity, after scrolling the page, or before closing the browser. Then set the delay, the time after the page loads when the action will be displayed. If you want your campaign to be shown only in selected countries, you can use the geolocation option. Set silent hours, the time during which actions will not be performed, for example, on weekends. If you want to use JavaScript for your campaign, iPresso also gives you this option. We will cover JavaScript functions in more detail in future videos. In the settings, you can also check the Action Tests option, and then the Action tab will become the Test tab. Action tests allow you to run tests on an audience group with the ability to select the winning version of the action. Go to the Criteria tab to specify when the action should be displayed. You can set the action based on user activity on the site, such as a visit on a monitored page, or actions by the iPresso system, such as sending an email to such a client. For monitored contacts, you can also use attributes, categories, tags, and consents. In the Action tab, specify the type of action to be performed after the criteria are met. Keep in mind that for most campaigns, you need to have the building blocks in advance, such as creatives, content, or tags. You can choose a pop-up and then choose your creation from the list. The same is true for an event-driven pop-up, but here, a little more work is required to configure the event. JavaScript, on the other hand, requires the preparation of JS code, and changing an attribute only requires entering a new value. Select the option you are interested in, and then check the summary. The system will verify if everything has been correctly configured. Red means an element needs to be corrected. Yellow suggests something to pay attention to, but does not block the action from being launched. And green confirms that all elements have been correctly configured. After saving the action, you can launch it by clicking the red button. Before you finally launch the action, test it in test mode by entering your IP address. Make sure you meet all the criteria and settings specified in the configuration. And that's it. With on-site actions in iPresso, you can effectively engage your users and increase the effectiveness of your marketing efforts. Good luck.